Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining me. Paul Staton here, creator for the Academy for Life Mastery. Now in this academy, I provide online courses to empower people by reconnecting them to their soul essence so they can live their life purpose and therefore create a life of clarity, confidence and vitality. So they have a lot of joy in their life and they've got meaning and they can make a contribution to the world. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about self-worth. Now, this is one video in a video series of 3, which I'm going to do on self-worth. Now, I'm really passionate about self-worth because low self-worth was a big issue for me in a lot of my life. And as a healing coach for the last 20 years, working with people from over 50 countries, that I found that a major issue for a lot of people is a low self-worth. And this is reflected in problems like they don't feel good enough, they don't trust themselves in their life, they get affected by other people, they feel overpowered by other people and quite often become people pleasers and sacrifice themselves for others. Yeah, can you relate to that? So often people who have low self-worth can't create their dreams and their preferred lifestyle, and they feel sad, angry, frustrated with life. Yeah, can you relate to that in your life? Well, I can relate this in my particular life because I had a low self-worth for a long time in my life. When I was growing up, I didn't really feel I fitted into the world. I felt quite magical, I felt quite different, and I wasn't really accepted for who I was, and I was quite often judged by people around me. I was quite often controlled by people around me, and I felt like I had to be a good little boy to fit into the world, and if I wasn't a good little boy, quite often I got punished. And so obviously what I did is sacrifice myself to try and fit into the world, but that made me very sad, very angry. Yeah, can you relate to this in your life? So therefore, it was not until about 20 years ago when I had a few emergencies in my life, and I like the word emergency, like emerge and see, you know, time to emerge from your life and your struggles and to see who you really are. And so I went on a life of discovery of finding out who I was when I was in a job that I didn't really like, and I had a broken love affair which really hit me because I realised I was sacrificing myself in relationships, which is what a lot of people do when they have low self-worth. And the third whammy, I call like a triple whammy in 1996, was one of my friends was in a car accident, and he was addicted to alcohol, and I was binge drinking at the time, and I thought, that could have been me, and I don't really like hospitals. And when I saw him in hospital and seeing the state he was, like he had this metal bars through his legs to try and hold his leg together, and you know, I almost fainted in the hospital. And I realise now that he had a low self-worth, and that was what causing him to drink. You know, quite often people who got low self-worth have self-abusive behaviours like drinking and overeating, and at that particular time I decided to change my life and to really look at myself and to change my life. So even though I was successful at university in teaching, you know, I won a National Teaching Award, I decided to leave university and go on a discovery journey to learn about healing so I could keep myself healthy. And in that journey of actually learning about healing and learning about energy and consciousness, what I did is I'd rediscovered who I was, and I reconnected who I was, and by knowing who I was, in terms of being able to help other people to heal and to find out who they are and to have a life of clarity and confidence, that enabled me to feel more worthy of who I am, yeah, and just feel better. And you know, I remember running into a colleague from university about 3 years after I left university, and this colleague looked at me and he said, "My God, you look different." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, you look about 10,000 times better." And I go, "Yes," you know, and that's a reflection of a higher self-worth. You know, I was liking myself more, and I was enjoying life more, and I was doing what I really liked to do, and that was to help other people. And so that journey enabled me to find solutions to self-worth. And now what I like to do as a healing coach is empower people by helping them reclaim their self-worth, and so they can feel good about themselves and create a life that they enjoy and a life of meaning and contribution, rather than, say, for instance, being in a job, which a lot of people are, and they don't like their job, and they're working long hours to buy things they don't need because they're looking for self-worth outside of themselves. Yeah? So from that journey, I've created a framework, which I'm going to share with you now, which is what my solution is to self-worth. So my solution to self-worth is simple, and I like things being simple, is to really find self-worth is about three things: knowing who you are, having clarity of who you are. Once you know who you are and that you understand that we are all unique beings and we all have got enormous abilities, what I call our own unique gifts of awareness, once you determine that, which is related to your life purpose, that gives you value and self-worth, because then you can see how you can give meaning and contribution to the world. So I help people know who they are. Because I found that working as a healing coach, a lot of people come to me and they say, I feel lost, I feel scattered, and they don't really know who they are. So helping people know who they are is an important part of finding self-worth. Then the second aspect of self-worth in my solution is being who you are. Once you know who you are, then the second thing is to actually be who you are. And that's knowing how in everyday life to be your essence and how to bring through your gifts of awareness to the world. Like I do mine through healing, and because I'm very sensitive to people and I can feel their energies, and from feeling their energies I can determine where they're blocked and know how to help them move them. So by being my essence and sharing my gifts, that's what helps me have self-worth, because I feel like I'm giving meaning and contribution to the world. So, but you know, we're in a world where a lot of people are unconscious, and you know, a lot of people sacrifice themselves to fit into the world. So it's learning how to be yourself in a world where most people are unconscious, and that can be a challenge for people. So it's about knowing how to be yourself and having strategies on a daily basis so you can actually be yourself and bring through your unique gifts of awareness. And then that sort of flows into number 3, which is about sharing yourself. Because I believe we are whole souls here who come to a journey to help provide our unique gifts of awareness, which I call our soul essence. So that we share our soul essence, our unique wisdom and abilities with the world to help humanity evolve. Because, you know, at the current time of history, humanity is going through a major shift in consciousness. And we're all here to help shift that by sharing our gifts of awareness. And by shifting our gifts of awareness, that actually helps us feel worthy because we have meaning and contribution in our life. So to me, that's the solution: to know yourself, be yourself, and to share yourself. So I'm going to give you this challenge, because the one thing to help to know yourself is to acknowledge yourself on a daily basis. It's a really powerful strategy I give a lot of clients. So for the next couple of days, I'm going to suggest you, and maybe continue it, is to acknowledge yourself every day. Like at the end of the day, like spend a couple of minutes and just write down 5 things that you feel good about yourself in what you did today. And you don't have to share it with anybody else. And you could even buy your own book and call it an acknowledgement book, where you're acknowledging yourself every day. It's a very important part of having self-worth. So that's my challenge for you, is to acknowledge yourself every day and see how that feels. Feel what it feels like to say, I did this today and I did this today. And it's about feeling worthy. And it could be just walking someone across the street or smiling at somebody, sharing something about who you are. So that's my challenge, to help you acknowledge yourself. So remember, this is the first video in a video series of three videos to help you understand self-worth and know what it means for you and how you can overcome low self-worth. So I congratulate you for spending time with me today. Really thanks for listening to me. You know, if you've got any comments or questions, to share them down below this video. And you know, if you really like the videos, and you know, acknowledge that you've liked it and share it with other people on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, wherever social media you use. So just as a preview for the next video, in the video number 2, what I'm going to cover in the second video, which you'll receive an email for in a few days' time, is I'm going to give you a case study as to show you for one of my clients who had low self-worth and how I helped them gain self-worth and how it changed their life. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see how it actually applies in life. And also I'm going to talk about the number one myth that people have which stops them accessing self-worth. Okay, the number one myth that a lot of people have about self-worth. And once you understand that, it helps you change how you face your life to reclaim your self-worth. And I'm also going to talk about the number one challenge people have in actually trying to reclaim self-worth. That's all in video 2. So anyway, I look forward to sharing that with you in a few days' time. Hope you really enjoyed this video. So go out there, acknowledge yourself at the end of the day, and learn how to know yourself. It's been great spending this time with you, and I look forward to being with you in the next video.